Tony Way returns to EastEnders for Zoe Slater's final storyline. Actor Tony Way previously appeared in the BBC soap in 2004, playing a character named Nick. He is now set to return to Albert Square in a completely different role for a brief appearance. The details surrounding his comeback are currently being kept firmly under wraps, with very little known about the character he will portray. Tony is reportedly involved in Zoe Slater's final storyline, as Michelle Ryan is preparing to make a short return to the show to film the character's final scenes following her unexpected temporary departure earlier this year. The actor has most recently appeared in Ricky Gervais' Alley Cats. His other notable credits include Game of Thrones, Afterlife, Edge of Tomorrow, and The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. At present, it remains unclear exactly how Tony's character will be connected to Zoe's death. However, viewers are expected to see the storyline unfold within the next few weeks. Michelle Ryan's departure was announced earlier this year after reports revealed that she had been removed from the soap after only around a year back in the role. Before her return, the character of Zoe had been absent from the show for 2 decades. She remained one of the soap's most recognizable and popular characters from its earlier years. There has been considerable speculation surrounding the decision to end her latest stint, while Zoe has remained away from Albert Square on screen. The character is now expected to return for a small number of final episodes, culminating in her death, which has already been criticized as one of the most uneventful soap exits. According to reports, Zoe will be discovered dead in her bed after failing to take a head injury seriously earlier in the week. The actress has already completed filming her final scenes, which have reportedly been described as lacking excitement and drama. Zoe is later discovered lifeless in bed by her mother Kat, leaving the family facing another devastating loss. One source claimed that the storyline appears set to be just as underwhelming as Zoe's latest comeback. The source suggested that many viewers could consider the death storyline rushed and disappointing. In a program famous for dramatic and memorable departures, Zoe's exit could ultimately be remembered as one of the least spectacular. Grim EastEnders twist as suspended cop Craig kisses vulnerable Amy. EastEnders is heading into increasingly uncomfortable territory as Craig Ingram's behavior towards Amy Mitchell takes a disturbing turn. What initially appeared to be a professional relationship between a police detective and a teenage witness has now developed into something far more troubling, leaving viewers questioning Craig's true intentions. Craig has spent the past several weeks around Walford while investigating the brutal attack on Joel Marshall. His position as the detective leading the case brought him into contact with several teenagers who were believed to have been in the park shortly before the incident. Amy was among those questioned as part of the investigation. At first, she appeared reluctant to reveal everything she knew, but the pressure eventually became too much. Amy finally opened up to Craig and admitted that she was responsible for attacking Joel. The confession immediately placed Craig in a difficult position. As a police officer, he was expected to report what Amy had told him and ensure that the investigation continued properly. However, before he could decide what to do, his own career was thrown into turmoil. Craig was suspended from his duties after a complaint was made against him. It subsequently emerged that there were already concerns about his conduct, with an investigation into allegations of gross misconduct involving an inappropriate relationship with a female officer. Despite being removed from the Joel investigation, Craig deliberately kept his suspension from Amy. Instead of explaining what had really happened, he told her that he had chosen to protect her by keeping her confession secret. Amy understandably felt relieved and grateful. She believed Craig had put himself at risk to help her, and this appeared to strengthen the emotional bond developing between them. Craig then encouraged Amy to contact him whenever she needed someone to talk to. While his words could initially be interpreted as supportive, his increasingly personal behavior has made the situation much more concerning. The pair soon crossed paths again at gaming grounds after Amy experienced another emotional setback. She had been rejected by Denzel Danes, leaving her upset and vulnerable. Craig took advantage of the opportunity to get closer to her. He criticized Amy's friendship group, including Denzel, and suggested that they were immature compared with her. He described Amy as an old soul, making it clear that he viewed her as different from the other teenagers. Craig then invited Amy to join him for a drink. Amy was surprised by the invitation, particularly given the significant difference in their ages and Craig's position of authority. Nevertheless, she eventually agreed to meet him and made it clear that she could legally be served alcohol. The meeting took place at Container Junction, where Amy ordered a single gin and soda. However, Craig went to the bar and ordered a double instead. As the evening progressed, Amy began opening up about everything she had been dealing with. She spoke about her worries, emotional struggles, and the pressure surrounding Joel's attack. Craig listened carefully and appeared sympathetic. Rather than maintaining the boundaries expected of someone in his position, however, he suggested that Amy have another drink before they headed home. The atmosphere became even more uncomfortable when the two eventually left the venue. Craig told Amy that he cared about her. Amy responded by admitting that she cared about him too. That moment marked a significant shift in their relationship. What had previously been presented as a detective supporting a vulnerable teenager now appeared to have crossed a much more serious line. The situation raises several important questions about Craig's motives. Is he genuinely trying to help Amy, or has he deliberately manipulated her trust after learning her secret? Amy has already been placed under enormous pressure because of her involvement in Joel's attack. She is also emotionally vulnerable after her rejection by Denzel and the wider problems affecting her family. Craig knows all of this. He also knows that Amy trusts him because she believes he protected her from the consequences of her confession. That imbalance of power could make his behavior particularly dangerous. There is also the fact that Craig is already facing scrutiny over his own conduct. His suspension and the investigation into his professional behavior make his growing closeness to Amy even more alarming. For Amy, the consequences could be devastating if she discovers that Craig's intentions were never as innocent as she believed. Her father, Jack Branning, is likely to react furiously if he learns that a suspended police officer has been secretly meeting his daughter and developing an inappropriate relationship with her. However, Jack already has a great deal on his shoulders. His family has been struggling following Denise Fox's recent diagnosis, leaving him emotionally exhausted and worried about what the future may hold. If Jack discovers what has been happening between Craig and Amy, it could push him into taking drastic action. The question now is whether someone will realize what Craig is doing before Amy is hurt. Will Amy begin to see through his behavior, or will she continue believing that Craig is the one person she can trust? Meanwhile, Craig's own future remains uncertain. With his career already under investigation, his connection with Amy could become the latest development to place him in serious trouble. As the storyline continues, viewers will be left wondering whether Craig is simply crossing boundaries or whether something much more sinister is unfolding behind closed doors. One thing is becoming increasingly clear. Amy may have thought she had found an adult who was willing to protect her, but Craig's latest actions suggest that she could be putting her trust in the wrong person. EastEnders is broadcast on BBC One from Monday through Thursday at 7:30 p.m, while the latest episodes are available to watch on BBC iPlayer from 6 a.m.